Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another unboxing, another offline gaming experience. This is Ori and the Will of the Wisps, or simply put, Ori 2 for the Nintendo Switch. To jump right into it, my physical copy version was 1.0.0, and there were no updates available since the time of making this video. Now this is a bit odd. When I look into the patch note history on a particular site, it says that there was an update release that put it to 1.2.0, but there were no updates available. So the only thing I can think of is that I Am 8-Bit put the update on the cartridge, which is really good, and they just reverted the cartridge code number to 1.00. It's fine, but I wish they would have just keep the update version on cartridge so you know you had the update on the cartridge. So just keep that in mind, that I didn't have no updates available. Now, again, this is an I Am 8-Bit physical copy. Again, I want to thank I Am 8-Bit for releasing a mass production version of this game, and instead of just being a boutique store that only sells the physical copy through their site and their site only. Highly praise I Am 8-Bit for doing this. Again, Ori 2 is a Xbox game that was meant to be exclusive, but they were kind enough to port it over to the Nintendo Switch. Now, the port over isn't actually that great. Now, the game is decent. I did play the entire game on the highest difficulty, and I 100% completed it. I was able to completely beat the game. But I did experience quite a number of bugs and problems. For simply put, the game kept crashing on me. I lost count how many times the game crashed on me before I finally beat it. It probably was around 30 times. Enemies and loading times and so forth are really slow. And sometimes when the game is loading in the next section of the map, the screen won't follow the character, and you'll just run into danger and damage without being able to see. I've also had enemies not actually spawn their assets, so when they appear, their characters are not there, but they're still actually there. So basically you had invisible enemies. And I had the last boss actually bug out on me where he was invisible as well. And I can tell you what, it's very hard to fight a final boss that's invisible. So again, it's a very bad port of the game onto the Nintendo Switch, or it doesn't function as much as you would hope it would, or I don't think it's limitation of hardware, because it can't be that much of a demanding game. It's just not a very done good port. But overall, game experience was decently well. I still personally believe Ori, even first and second one here, is what I would categorize as a good disappointment. Now, Ori 2 did really improve the entire aspects of the game from the first one by introducing a lot more variety of environments and enemies. The combat's lots more fluid and more rewarding and a lot more challenging. There's now boss fights. They're very dynamic and fun and very visually appealing of fights. I mean, and the music in the game is just jaw-droppingly good. It's like, I mean, ear porn for your hearing from music. I mean, it's just that good of music. And the sound effects in the game are really good. But overall, characters and story and so forth, again, like the first one, didn't really hit home. It's alright, but I feel that they played it safe. I think they could have done it better and made it more darker and more sadder. It could have been better for me. It felt too predictable. I was actually predicting a lot of stuff before I even got through half the game. And it was a little surprising that the main enemy in the game, the main villain, the main antagonist, was another bird, which, again, was a little disappointing. Come on, mix it up a little bit. Come on, developers. I mean, you got a whole nother game here. Do something more with it. So it was very disappointing on that department as well. The mini quests and so forth was really well done. There was a lot more characters to meet and talk to, which was really nice. And like I said, the environment is a lot more dynamic, and there's a lot bigger map and so forth. There's a lot more here packed in. I do like the fact that now there's no much of the grind anymore. We're now, like, the light money in the game is more money than experience, and you just build it up and you're able to buy abilities and so forth. It feels like they kind of took some inspiration from Hollow Knight by having kind of like slots when you put in abilities, as well as the combat is a little bit more like Hollow Knight, where it's got a little bit more dynamic from attacking with a sword and so forth. So they did a pretty good job of making sure the game is a little bit more, user experience into the playtime with it. Enemies are a lot more challenging and so forth. Again, I know that some people would be surprised because people had said that this game was really good and it really touched them and it affected them and it was a great game for them. And some of them probably would say it's their best game for 2020. To me, it's a good Metroidvania. Don't get me wrong. I had a great time. I loved it. Anytime I play Metroidvania, I always try to 100% complete it. And this is no different. I had a blast playing the game. But I just feel like there could have been more done with it. And maybe I'm holding a little too hard on, again, the bad port. Because, like I said, the game kept crashing on me. I got so worried that the game was going to crash during a saving. And I was going to corrupt my entire save. Which could still really well happen. And then, like I said, the loading times. There's even loading times for just hitting the pause button. It's very frustrating. And a game like this should have not had such a bad port for the Switch. That's my biggest gripe about it. And again, there's no update available, so that's kind of what's on the cartridge. Maybe they'll release an update down the road to fix these problems. I mean, it makes me sad that means that the cartridge is not complete. But, I mean, the game was great, and I'm glad that 8-Bit did this, and I'm glad that Microsoft brought it for the Switch and so forth. It's still an amazing game. I think some people are highly praising it a little too much. I mean, yes, the game is visually pretty. The game has great soundtrack, but overall, I feel like they could have done more. I feel like they really didn't go all the way to home base with it. There's so much more potential they could have done. It felt like they rinse and repeat a lot of mechanics and ideas and so forth. And I'm hoping that if they do a third one, really go out of the way, or just go ahead and put Ori on the back burner and try something new. As yes, I know that might upset some people, and if this is a game that you truly love, and I'm glad for you. But I personally felt that there's a lot better options out there, and Moon Studio clearly a very talented team and very passionate at what they do and very artistic and just have great visions and so forth, but I see a lot of potential being put somewhere else. So in my opinion, you still get it for Nintendo Switch. Probably for Xbox, I don't have the Xbox version because I don't have an Xbox. Hopefully that version is a lot better than this version in terms of performance. But if you only have a Nintendo Switch version, it's still an amazing collection to buy to get in your game. Both the first and second one. Yes, the second one is by far superior compared to the first one, but performance-wise, the first one was better than the second one. For just mechanical, the game didn't crash so many times like this game did. But in the end, yes, get it. It's still a great game, whether it be on your shelf. And then you might play this and think I'm completely wrong, and that's fully fine. That's my personal opinion about the game. Then I'll probably come back to it eventually at some point, but overall, I had a decent time with it. So like always, I try to leave links down in the description if you're instant copy. I totally recommend it. It was a great game and one I'm very proud to have on my shelf. But I guess it didn't hit as home with me for a lot of other people. So like always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next unboxing video. Bye bye.